Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and today we're taking a look at a weird-ass game called History Channel Civil War. This is something that was released. It's kind of shovelware. It's kind of not. It is basically a Civil War game that is very similar to Medal of Honor, except you're fighting in the 1800s. Today we're testing out some new audio stuff. I found a way to I can make a really bad joke, but I won't, to separate the audio from the main game line audio and the Discord audio, because I'm also joined by, once again, Triple X Medic.
Hello, Governor. Showing your shoes for you, mate.
We're not fighting against the British, we're fighting against the foul northern, present company excluded.
Are you gonna be a Union soldier, sir?
Well, if by Union you mean, Valiant Southerner, then yeah. So yeah, this is a game that could potentially get you canceled. However, with today's Discord, I can't really, because depending on who you talk to, both sides are equally bad, so whatever. Whereas back in 2006 when this game came out, nobody would have even considered such a thing. You can really play as North or South. All these are two different battles, though. The North, you fight in Fredericksburg, which is not in Texas. There's a different Fredericksburg, apparently. And you fight at Bull Run, where I'm not sure what that is. It's probably some weird state that no one's ever heard of. So yeah, Triple X, did you ever care about the Civil War? Was that ever a big deal?
I find it fascinating as like for a historical sake, but I'm not one of those, you know, pound my chest, yeah, Yankee win type guys.
Yeah. It's one of those things where Civil War discourse has changed a lot over the years. Like, when this game came out, you know, there was still this desire to have, like, North and South have a, reconciliation to, like, move on from the past, whereas now it's all South bad, man, or everybody bad, because you know what they say about the American flag, it represents evilness. So if we played as North, we'd be bad. If we played as South, we'd be bad. So you know what, we're just gonna play as the South, since we're bad no matter what we do.
So we're double bad.
Exactly. Oh man, just listen to this.
July 21st, 1861 is a beautiful day for the first
that audio is so bad.
of the war. Union soldiers, their uniforms clean and pressed, march on Bull Run Creek under General McDowell. They are 37,000 strong.
I think this came directly from like a History Channel documentary.
Waiting at Bull Run Creek are 22,000 Confederates commanded by General Beauregard and Sidney Johnston.
I feel like I'm watching the History Channel right now.
And endanger Washington, D.C. Both armies converged near Stone Bridge on Bull Run Creek. A small contingent of Northerners blocked the southern advance of the bridge.
Damn you, Northerners! I mean, never mind.
To break through this blockade and continue their assault against the enemy.
All we're missing is Wilfred Brimley to shield diabetes medicine.
Exactly. And yeah, Cyrus, there are people who do think the Civil War is still going on, and those people are crazy. And so the little diary here said, the guy's like, 90-day war, that's not too bad. Well, try like almost 5 years. Oh dears. And yeah, that audio quality is pretty bad. I'm sure they just ripped that like from a VHS tape or something. Alright, so what we got here is a Civil War FPS that already is really, really, really historically inaccurate. We've got like a revolving rifle that no one would have used, because everybody hated these back in the Civil War days, and even before, because they never worked right. And also people were worried about blowing their hands off if like all the cylinders went off. But yeah, I own this game. Wait a second.
What year was this game released in?
2006. So how do you load black powder really fast? You just pull the whole cylinder out. Because of course they would have issued the South a bunch of cylinders for their rifles that they couldn't manufacture or buy.
You know, I'm pretty sure in 2006 the 360 was out.
I think 360 came out in 2005, so yeah. This is the
In fact, I
PS2
think the
version of the
PS2
game,
was
so.
It looks like an early PS2 game, like 2001.
It's called We Had No Money, but the History Channel was willing to pay for something, and this is the best we got. It's not terrible. I'm gonna say this is a perfectly adequate game.
I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying, you know, I'll give them that for a History Channel. This looks like a. I want to almost call it like a Gary's mod.
Yeah, I could see that. Although I think this probably predates Gary's mod by many years. And yeah, the Korean War is technically still going on, but like, it's one of those things of it's technically going on, but not really. Smack him. Beat him up.
Kill them all! They're on the run!
Dirty Union. I mean, Northerner.
Exactly. But the idea that the History Channel would make a game is kind of crazy. I mean, this is the time when, like, Burger King came out with the Sneak King. I had that.
Sneak King was the shit.
They're on the run!
I forgot about Sneak King.
Yeah, it's where you had to, like, sneak around as a Burger King and, like, give people, like, high cholesterol.
Yeah, it was like $5 for a game. It was there was like 5 of them.
Man, that is crazy to think.
Going, man!
Now it's all just,
Oh,
you know, like,
doing that.
No mercy!
boom.
They're on the run!
I want a Civil War cannon. Man, if I was rich, I'd have me a Civil War cannon.
Keep going, man! Victory, man! Follow me to glory!
Oh my god, the game, of course, has some little jank to it. Like, the commanding officer won't shut the fuck up. It's like, follow me to glory. I'm like the only one left alive. Everyone else is dead. Now, did you watch
I
the
love
History
the
Channel?
way they.
Wait a second.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was saying, like, did you watch the History Channel back in the day?
Yes and no. I watched it before it was nothing but Pawn Stars and American Pickers.
Keep going, man!
Yeah, so did I.
Cavalry charge will occur down the road, right through the
Oh,
Union
that's
center.
an accent, all right there.
Barricades must be blown to protect the charge. Here are your explosives. Good luck.
I used to like Pawn Stars too.
I was offended by the Pawn Stars' very existence. It's like, really? We went from, like, awesome documentaries to that? To that?
Kill them all.
When it became nothing but Pawn Stars and American Pickers, I was like, yeah, this sucks.
Ice Road Truckers. X-Men. What was the other crap they had? Oh yeah, Ancient Aliens. You know, I'm not saying it's aliens, but it's aliens.
For the aliens. You remember the military channel?
Yeah, I remember that. It was basically just all the old documentaries. just put up again.
They had this amazing show called One Man Army.
I don't think I ever
They
saw
would take
that.
They would take 4 people from various branches of like the military and put them in these ridiculous like evolutions where they'd have to like be underwater, hold their breath and cut through like a metal gate with like a little hacksaw, and there was just a little tiny hole for them to go back for air. It was really good.
Actually, it does sound pretty good. I never saw that. I just saw like the old documentaries. Oh man, that'll make you feel old if you see something like that. It's like, in the year 2007, the U.S. military will switch over to all steel ammunition. It's like, that didn't happen. Some of those got uploaded on YouTube. Needless to say, don't look at the comments on the guns of Israel. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Don't do it.
Destroy that sniper's nest.
Where's our holographic ammo counters?
I know, it'd be nice if we had that. Although the batteries, we need better battery technology. Who's shooting at me? He's not wearing blue. Oh, he's not wearing blue. Why are you shooting at me?
Friendly fire.
Okay, so let's see. Let's look at his reload. Yeah, they all got revolving rifles. I'm almost dead. Who's shooting at me? I think... Let's grab some health. Yeah, lock and low with Arlie Army. Rip.
Rip.
The gunny has been dead for probably a decade now, I think. He made it to his 70s, so that's not too bad.
I liked his show. What was his show? Other show, Mailbag or Mail Call?
Yeah, Mail Call. I watch that all the time. Yeah, the bloopers.
I remember he did a bit on the M1 versus the M16.
Yeah.
And the M1 won.
I'm not surprised. I mean, I don't think Arlie Army was a FUD, but at the same time, it makes sense. Because in those days, the M16, it's a Jam-O-Matic Mattel rifle, when in reality, no, it's not. We need to go back to the 1860 revolving rifle. Who needs a hand, you know? Now, there is a rifle like this that actually does work, made by Taurus, called the Circuit Court Judge. And it has like a blast shield, so if like somehow the cartridges were able to all go off at once, your hand wouldn't get taken off. It's kind of neat, I guess. It's one of those things where like, why would you design such a thing other than just for cool factor?
It was in Black Ops 2.
Really?
Yep, you could use the they called it the executioner in the game.
Yeah. Oh crap, run! I guess I shouldn't have stood so close to that barrel of black powder. Yeah, there's boomers that hate on the AR-15 for some reason. Wow, I am getting shredded by these guys. Smack him! Punch him! Punch him in the face! Pistol whip him. Oh, the reloading animation for this is hilarious. Assuming I can remember how to reload. There we go. I think I'm gonna die, so I might as well just reload the save. This game is harder than I remember.
When you mentioned the hatred for the AR, I remember back in '89 and 1990 when the polymer guns were coming out and everything was striker fire.
Yeah.
They hated it.
Which I
Everyone, if you were a gun person, it was, oh, it's gonna melt. If you were an anti-gun person, it was, you can go through metal detectors, man, you won't know.
I remember
Dude,
seeing that.
That's not how any of that works.
Yeah, there's a lot of FUD lore out there. It's still there now. There's like the Tactibro lore. Or like anything that doesn't come from like 2000 today is like, it's old and it like inaccurate and doesn't work. And you need to spend at least $500 on your optic, says the optics manufacturer.
Actually, did you see Die Hard 2?
Yeah, a long time ago.
They actually referenced that line of thinking about the polymer guns in that movie, where John McClane says, you know, like something about what sets off the metal detector first. These are polymer guns. You know, they can't be detected. I'm like, come on, man.
Then we will give them the bayonet. His bold defense turns the tide of the battle.
You could give him the bayonet instead.
Him in military lore as Stonewall Jackson. Along with Jeb Stuart, the counterattack pushes the Union forces back to Stone Bridge, where panic sets in. It turns into a full-blown rout for the Union.
Silverwings got it.
5,000 Union soldiers never return home. Those that do stagger back to Washington, D.C.
2 points to Silverwings.
Now bloody and tattered. The Union is humiliated, and the event comes to be known as the Great Skedaddle. In Richmond, Confederate President Jefferson Davis rejoices and claims a great victory over the Union. But it's clear now to both sides that this war will not be short nor painless to either side.
It's a porcelain gun made in Germany. It doesn't show up on your export restaurant and costs more than you make in a month. Wow. Those cops were making no money back then, because I think the Glock was like, what, $600-700 back in 1989 or something like that?
I remember they were pricey when they first came out, but dear God, it wasn't a month's salary.
Yeah. There we go. Shiloh. So yeah, we got more History Channel.
Spring of 1862. General McClellan refuses to fight with his enormous army.
I love the way they do the fake
anything but timid.
like the map hard barriers.
At Pittsburgh Landing.
How there's always just some like covered wagon or
plans a surprise attack.
what is it, like spiked like log barrier.
Size is not properly defended.
Or melee
In the early
bags.
morning, commanding an equal force of raw recruits.
My God, this
Confederate
audio
General
is
Johnston
bad.
knows he has to stop Grant now before reinforcements arrive.
I mean, this
But
isn't a
before the
bad
battle
little
is
thing.
about
Like,
to
if you didn't know
begin,
anything about
a small
the
group of
Civil War,
soldiers is
you'd
about
actually
to
be
infiltrate
educated
the enemy's
while also
positions.
getting to have fun. Let's see, I'm trying to read that. Like, that's very... Cursive is something that I learned to read and can, but it's a little harder to read than you might think.
Did you know they don't even teach cursive in school anymore?
Damn. Because you kind of... It's good to know.
That means
Yeah.
slitting throats. You will steal into the general's tent and procure strategic documents. You will then sabotage their survey balloon.
I haven't written
on your way
cursive
out,
in
destroy
probably
enemy's
20
heavy
years.
You will avoid
Yeah, probably
all
the same for
lighted
me.
areas. A platoon of men should be doing this, but you're all I've got. Now don't let me down, son.
So this is like the great-great-great-grandfather of, like, Ramirez here. It's like, we need, like, a platoon, but we've got you. We don't have the Burger Town. We've got the Saskatoon Town or something. We got the Saskatoon Village. See a game take place in the American Revolution? You could get that. That'd be kind of fun. If it was made in 2001. Sadly, if they made it today, you know what would happen. You know. You know.
I know.
Actually, they already did it. That Assassin's Creed 3. They spotted me. Okay, I probably need to actually, like, not immediately try to attack somebody. Assassin's Creed 3, you know, the tyranny of King Washington and such. Now, wait a minute. If they're gonna spot me that fast, why don't I just shoot them? Why don't I just pop him in the head with a 44 bullet? That should have killed him. Stealth, who cares about that? I'm being shot.
You know,
okay, maybe we do have to, like, hide.
You know, I'm the kind of guy to always give credit where it's due, even on cheap or bad games. And I will give this game this. It has a beautiful skybox.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I didn't even notice that. Paramount merger with Skydance. I don't know. If they can't hire some good writers, Star Trek is dead. I mean, the last Star Trek thing was Section 31, and even the you know, Discovery meat writers couldn't say that it was actually good. Stab him! Cut him up! Bowie knife to the stomach! Okay, they already spotted me. This is gonna be one of those games where, like, you have to use a modicum of stealth. He's literally right there. How am I supposed to get... How am I supposed to sneak up and stab him? Problem with the AR-15 is that they only come with 16-inch barrels, because nobody wants a longer barreled AR. It's like, the longer barreled ones are great for, like, going through body armor, but people like 16-inchers because they're much more convenient to deal with. Oh yeah, Delton, rip.
What about Deltron 3030?
Got him! Stab him! Stab him! I'm just gonna hide behind this tent here, and they can't spot me. No, but Delton was a cheapo AR-15 manufacturer. They did pretty good, but they went out of business just because It's the Trump slump, man. It's the Trump slump. Nobody has a desire to buy any guns right now because they either A, already bought them all, or B, the prices are so low, it's hard to compete. And also people just don't feel like they need to arm up at this point in time. I never played Kingdom. But go on.
I do. You can never have enough firearms, alcohol, or tobacco.
Exactly. See, for me though, I'm finished with guns just because I got all the ones that were on my list. I made a list back in 2013 and I got them all. And
I need a Galil.
Need a what?
I need a Galil.
Those things are so expensive though, and it's just a 5.56 AK. Oh,
but it's beautiful.
This is true. That was actually on my nice-to-have list, but I just can't justify dropping $1,000 on just a 5.56 AK. And then if you want to put a red dot on it, and I do... Oh, crap. All I got is a Bowie knife and a black powder pistol. I actually
Red
have...
State Cyrus.
Wait a second.
Cyrus asked me if I was red or blue.
No.
We are red. Excuse me. I do not believe for a second it was blue in 2020, but we can't talk about that.
According to the Vulcan Science Academy, time travel is impossible. See, if you're a Star Trek fan, you'll know why that's funny, and like the reason I said that is, in Star Trek they keep saying that time travel is impossible, but the entire season is based around time travel, and it's proven that time travel does exist. So think about it. Think about it.
You know, the fun part about time travel is the moment it existed or it's invented, it has always existed.
This is true, which is weird. That means we will always have DeLoreans. And hello, John Doe. Yeah, just get the PSA upper, Cyrus. Don't overthink it. It's just a riffle. Cut him up! Cut him up!
Did you watch the third BTTF?
Yes.
What was your opinion on Doc showing up with the flying train?
I thought it was all right. By the end of that movie, it's like, it's cool that he, was there. It didn't like piss me off or anything.
I still love the movie, but I have to admit that the flying train was just a little bit much for me.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's like, how did he build it? But at the same time, it's like, it's the last 5 seconds of a movie. I'm not going to get that mad about it. And it's kind of cool that he built it. Back to the Future 3 felt kind of gratuitous. Like, that's an example of a trilogy that didn't mean to be a trilogy. It meant to be a movie, and then it became very, very successful. And so they made as many of those as possible, and it somehow works. The fact it works as good as it does is a minor miracle. Wow, these idiots spot me in like a second.
I'm so grateful that they did not try to do like a Kingdom of the Crystal Skull and shoehorn a fourth movie 20 years after.
Yeah. I think the worst we got was just a video game. The point-and-click adventure game.
Telltale did one too. I never played it, but
I'm not a point-and-click guy.
Remember they were going to reboot it, but everyone was like, no. Marty was race and gender swapped, and the time machine was like an Xbox.
An Xbox? What?
Yeah, the time machine was like a game console. Well, you know, you got to appeal to the young kids today.
I guess did that come out? I wonder when that idea came about, because, you know, they did that with Jumanji, where they made it a game console. So I wonder if they're like, well, if we can't make it Back to the Future, we'll just do that with Jumanji, which I'm okay with the Jumanji reboot, because Jumanji's an alright movie, but Back to the Future, no, that's something special.
Yeah. If a movie is selected for cultural, like preservation, sorry, you don't need to remake it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so you see this reload for this revolver here? Like, that's not how you would do that. It's like, I get why they did it, because they want you to reload in less than like 2 minutes, but it's just kind of funny. And also, it's kind of funny we've got the Sharps. The Sharps did exist at this point in time, but it used paper cartridges, and it was kind of a shitty rifle, because like there'd be like extra powder that would like get in the handguard, and yes, sometimes the handguard would blow up. But like, you do not reload a black powder revolver like that. Ask me how I know. I've got a couple black powder revolvers, like legitimately 2. This is this revolver here is not one this guy would necessarily have. This is the Army Colt in .44. I've got a 1851 Navy in .44. That's not historically accurate. The 1851 Navy in real life was only in .36. But I can tell you, black powder revolvers are really, they look nice, but they're really annoying to shoot. Because there's so many things that can go wrong. Like, you don't load it that fast. I actually rolled my own, man, paper cartridges, and my God, it still took forever. And then, like, you can get, you know, potentially it won't go off, or you get a bad percussion cap. I'll tell you this, I respect all the people who tried to fight with these goddamn guns, because, man, it's annoying. Let's see, think there ever existed a history... There existed a history teacher that ever made use of the game. That would be cool if they did, but none of the history teachers I had would have ever used a game or even really knew that games existed. And yeah, usually it's 44. Okay, now where the hell is that depot? The Homer's Depot. I like this game though. It is not god-awful, and it's like one of the few Civil War FPSs there ever was. There's a multiplayer one called War of Rights. Uh-oh, somebody's gonna get canceled. But that's multiplayer only, and I don't care about that. But this is a lot like Battlefield Juan, in that like all the weapons you use are like multi-shot, or they're not all repeaters. We're not immediately going to the 1860 Henry, but like we're not using no musket either.
Would you like to learn a fun fact about black powder and rum?
Rum? Go for it.
Yeah. So alcohol, whiskey, and rum are measured in what's called proof.
Yeah.
And back in the pirate times, when they would bring rum, they would douse black powder in rum. And if the whiskey was under 100 proof, when they lit it, the black powder wouldn't burn. However, if it was over 100 proof and they lit it, the black powder would ignite, which is why they call it proof.
I did not know that.
Alcohol is strong.
That's kind of neat. I did not have a clue about that. I always wondered where the proof came from.
The more you know.
Yeah. I like the comically oversized targeting reticle, aim assist, and snap ADS. I mean, it's fine. Hey, you know, you gotta consider that by 2006, you know, this was old hat, but just a few years earlier, we could have had, like, GoldenEye style aiming, which was really annoying. I mean, I love GoldenEye, but GoldenEye aiming can get very tedious after a while. Hey, yeah, that is a very big reticle. But you gotta consider, though, there's a lot of love put into this game that had a budget of like $1. I'd like to see more games like this, and less, you know, slop. And at least we've got, whoa. And at least...
A rough,
Say again?
a rough looking game made in earnest is
Yes,
better than a good looking game, but just pure slop.
exactly. 'Cause somebody cared about this game when they made it. You know, because, like, this is not the worst game I've ever played. There are a bunch of...
You did it all right. Jeff Davis gonna give you a medal for that, I guess. Now let's get on out to the boats.
Did you just stop talking?
No, the little dude here was like, we gotta get to the boat. But, there is a bunch of Old West FPSs. Call of Juarez is the most notable one. I've never played Call of Juarez, though. I played Call of Juarez Gunslinger, which is pretty good. That's a cheapo game, too, though. They reuse a 12-gauge shotgun animation for the lever action. So, the reloading animation is them literally just pushing cartridges into where the lever attaches to the frame. Oops! That's not where the bullets go.
There was a game called Gun back on the PS2, set in the Wild West.
Yeah, that's like Red Dead Redemption 0, because it's an open world game. I haven't thought about that game in years. I haven't played it in a long time, and I'd actually say I haven't played it at all, because I just kind of jumped into it. It was kind of like meh, and didn't actually play it, but I am aware of it. I'd probably like it more today than when I tried to play it the last time, though. Love how it's so evident that ADS was an 11th hour decision for Bioshock. Huh, I gotta pay attention to that at some point. Oh, you're right, it is kind of weird. I don't think I ever used ADS in Bioshock anyway. Maybe the PS2 version is better than the 361. I heard that's the case for the History Channel Pacific game. I never played the Pacific game. Call of Juarez 1 is super janky. Oh dear. Maybe it's a good thing I missed it. Call of Juarez 2 is better. I remember Call of Juarez the Cartel, because there was a video that Yahtzee Croshaw put out all those years ago. Like, I'd have to say like 15 years ago. One of the jokes in that is like my favorite joke he ever did, and that was, "There's no middle finger long enough." I don't know what it was about, but apparently the game was that bad.
Was that the
Yeah.
one where like the guy was like a priest, but he was also like saving hookers? I mean, working girls.
Oh my, you can't call them that. You gotta call them sex workers.
Right. Sorry.
You're gonna get canceled.
Taking heavy losses, the Union finally retreats.
Coitus
to Tennessee.
employmenters.
They
Oh
hold
my.
that position as a dozen massive assaults are launched and 62 cannons blaze away. Confident of a total Southern victory, General Beauregard is shocked to face
You know,
72,000
why
Union
can't
soldiers
you
the
call
next
in an
morning.
AC-130 on these
The night
guys?
before with reinforcements.
They
Grant
don't
takes
have
the
enough
field
corn oil
and
for it.
forces the South to withdraw after a murderous
Surely there's a
defeat.
Predator drone
All in
somewhere.
all, after 2 days
They'd
of
have to
fighting,
heat
there
up
are
the
23,000
vacuum tubes.
casualties, more than in all previous American wars combined. The costly Union victory shakes the divided nation to its very core. The war is a calamity that will require more bloodshed and sacrifice than anyone could have ever imagined.
I just know at some point there's going to be a turret section in this game.
The way to the South.
I
is
wouldn't
now
be
open.
surprised, probably with a cannon.
It's a 2006 game, and goddamn if they didn't love those.
Yeah. And John Doe, we are playing the Confederate campaign.
Womp womp.
In the late summer of 1862, General Lee invades the North, hoping to deliver a fatal blow to the Union.
Did you ever happen to
Lincoln
see the
sends General
JCVD
McClellan to
movie
stop
Time
Lee
Cop?
in his tracks at Sharpsburg,
Yes.
Maryland.
Ooh, I can tell you a story
Even though
about that.
McClellan captures
I watched
Lee's
it when it came
dispatches
out.
exposing
I
his
was still a
entire
kid.
battle plan, the
And,
overridden
I know
uh,
exactly
when
where
the-
this is going, but I won't say a
For
thing.
2 days. This gives Lee more.
But see, I
and more
can kind of
confidence.
not hear you as well as
The
I'd
North
like
achieves
because
a temporary
this
advantage
audio
at
is
Bloody
very
Lane,
loud in my
where Confederate
headphones, but
soldiers
hopefully
are
it isn't
trapped
too
in the
loud on
sunken
stream.
road and slaughtered. In the southern section of the battlefield,
Hopefully not too
Burnside
loud.
attacks the bridge at Antietam Creek.
The History Channel is blowing out my eardrums because they can't fix their audio. Because I'm sure they're using, like, Windows 98 computers. No, they're using Windows 95. Real history. But what were you saying about Time Cop? Well, the History Channel was blaring in my ear.
I was gonna say that there's that awesome scene where the guy goes back in time with modern guns to rob what I can't remember if it was the north or south of the gold.
I don't remember the plot of the movie other than I think there was like the bad guy who wanted to like take over the world or something.
Yeah, he was trying to rig the presidency in his favor.
Okay. So that movie must have bidet in it, I guess.
But go ahead with when you saw it as a kid, because I know where you're going to go with it.
Yep. There's two titty scenes in that, and the first time the titty scene showed up, my mother was like, "Turn that movie off right now." So yes.
I knew that's where that was going.
Yep.
And it comes out of nowhere.
Yes, it's the. If I'm not mistaken, it's the hippie looking guy. No, the creepy looking guy, the stalker looking guy with the mustache, is like jerking off to hollow porn or something. There's something.
Yeah,
like
he has like a Nintendo Virtua Boy on his face, and it's like a VR pleasure game.
Yeah. So that was very awkward. And the rest of the movie is just a regular movie.
Hey, I miss when rated R movies just be like, "Hey, random tits here. There you go."
Yeah, but it became obsolete when you could just go on the prawn hubs. It's like, what's the point?
But anyway, I guess it was something for the guys, I think.
Yeah.
RoboCop did it.
Terminator did it. There's the infinitely memeable sex scene between Reese and Sarah Connor.
Well, see, that is an actual plot point.
Yeah.
It wasn't. A good example would be like in Universal Soldier, when they're busting through the walls of the motel, and there just happens to be a couple banging.
Yeah, I remember that.
Demolition Man had it.
I do recall that as well. That's always very awkward. There's a movie coming out, and I can't remember what it is at the moment. Oh yeah, Police Squad. It's getting a remake, which doesn't look too bad. Actually, it's a remakeable. It has the son of Frank Drebin. It doesn't look too bad, but I want to go see that, but I can't. I cannot. Because I'd have to go see it by myself, and there's no way in hell I would take my mother to see that movie. You know? Because I can only imagine the raunchy humor, and that's always awkward, you know? You ever watch a movie with, like, your family, and, like, there's some kind of, well, that kind of stuff going on, and it's like, oh dear. Oh dear.
I watched Bruno with my sister.
I don't know, maybe that's not quite as bad if it's your sister and not like a mother or a grandfather or something like that. Maybe.
My dad walked in right as he was doing the penis wiggle.
Okay, that would be awkward, yes.
Yeah.
That would not be fun.
There's a running joke in our family where our parents used to walk in as soon as there was a sex scene, they would come in and ask for something.
Yep. Not surprised. Let's see. The game needed Geomod. Yeah, I don't think the PS2 could handle that. Okay, so...
It had it in Red Faction.
Wait a second.
It had it in Red Faction.
That's true. But maybe Red Faction had, like, lesser graphics, and maybe that's how I was able to do it?
The Geomod on the PS2 was limited in scope, where the PC Geomod, you could tunnel for miles.
I've never played the PC version of that game. I only played the PS2 version.
I've played the PC version. It's superior in every way to the PS2 version, and I am a console guy.
PC gaming master race. I mean, never mind.
It had an amazing multiplayer.
I never was a multiplayer guy, so I would not have been able to know. Where the hell am I supposed to go? Okay, here we go. You have to charge forward and then go over here. Yeah, Red Faction is a game I need to stream at some point too. Damn federales. Just blast them. Okay, there is no way. Well, I guess there's not no way, but it's very unlikely that a Confederate soldier would have a Spencer. God damn it. A Spencer carbine. The Spencer carbine is actually working way better than it did in real life. Not only that, but like the reload on this is not in any way like realistic at all. Like you had to dump the cartridges into the rear of the gun and hope they all went in right. But whatever, it's a video game. It's a video game. I kind of want one of these.
John, the tagline for Red Faction was "Better red than dead."
That. See, I got a response to that because like that's an old statement that like all the hippies used to say. No, see, if you go red, you'll soon be dead because you'll either be killed by your own government or starvation, or a disease that is easily curable in a capitalist country, but not so curable in a communist country. It's only a matter of time before something gets you. How did you get Red Faction to work on Windows 11 with 1080p? I haven't. One day I should try. Oh, the GOG version. Okay. I have to acquire that one legally.
The first one is worth playing. Avoid the second one like the plague.
I actually rented that for the Xbox back in the ye olde days. And yeah, it wasn't that great. My strongest memory of that, though, is that was the first time I had Arizona green tea. So, yeah, I kind of associate that game with Arizona green tea.
Arizona green tea is delicious.
That it is. That was the first time I ever got it. We got like a case of it from Sam's Club. And so, the entire time I'm playing this game, I'm just chugging down like can after can of that shit.
Fun fact about Red Faction 2. It features Lance Hendrickson and an extremely early role for Jason Statham before he was a household name.
Huh. Oh, yeah, I never noticed. Smack him, beat him up.
I can't remember the character he played, but he voiced one of the main characters.
I don't remember anything about it. And yeah, I did beat Red Faction Guerrilla, and I really enjoyed that game. Got that for the Xbox 360 and played the crap out of it. Goddamn Northerners. President Company excluded.
Let's take Geomod, but make it the whole game.
Yeah. You can be Mighty Thor. Thorberer.
Did you ever play, or did we ever discuss Killzone?
I've never played Killzone. I actually have the game legitimate, and the only reason I do is because when I bought my used PlayStation 2 in 2006, I think, maybe 2007, it was in the disc tray.
The first game is so good.
Let's see. So, yeah, The Patriot, where the Parrot, where Mad Mel Gibson decides to be an American, a Revolutionary War American, despite being Australian, and he carried a bunch of muskets. Yeah, people would carry a bunch of. They wouldn't carry a bunch of muskets because that'd be way too heavy, but they'd carry a bunch of pistols and stuff like that. In the Civil War, some guys would have like double rifles. That would work. Sometimes they would have like a rifle with like 2 chambers that they would load. The thing about like old ass guns is I think people forget that like people back in the 1800s weren't stupid. They knew those guns were hard to load. They just didn't have a choice. It's like, well, let's see, I can either have gun or no gun. So it's like, Yeah, it sucked. But they kind of mitigated that a little bit by like having paper cartridges, which are shit. I've made paper cartridges. They're annoying and they barely work. But they are a little faster if they work. I'm sure like if I had like the setups they would have had back in the 1800s, they'd work better. But rolling your own paper cartridges, very tedious, very annoying. Like even back in the Revolutionary War, they'd have paper cartridges where they like bite off part of it and then like pour the shit down the barrel. It's slightly faster, but you're doing good to get like 3 shots off in a minute.
I would be remiss with all this Mel Gibson talk if I didn't point out his epic telephone meltdown that was on TMZ with his then wife.
See, I don't know about that. I know the one where he talked bad about certain people that are in the news right now, but I did not know he had a meltdown about his wife.
Oh, please, when you got free time, just look up the highlights.
Because, like, I'm only aware that he said some things, and the only reason I'm really aware of that is because South Park. Although, like how the Trey and Matt were both like, well, he can make a good story, but he's crazy. I don't think he was actually crazy, though. I think no crazier than your average Hollywood Dinsian, I think. Mel Gibson was born in America. I thought he was Australian.
I'm not sure where he's from.
Because wasn't he in like Mad Max? And Mad Max was Australian.
He was also in Passion of the Christ.
Well, yeah. Did he actually? Okay, I've never seen Passion of the Christ. Did he actually play Jesus or not?
No, that was Jim Caviezel.
Okay. Because that would be kind of like very arrogant for an actor to literally play, you know, Jesus there. There's apparently going to be Passion of the Christ 2. I mean, there's going to be sequels all day long. So the only other... I actually streamed this a long time ago. There's actually another Civil War-ish kind of game called Darkest of Days. Oh man, I could get in trouble for just talking about that game. Have you ever heard of this game, Darkest of Days?
Darkest Days. No, I don't think so.
Darkest of Days is a time travel first-person shooter where you play as this ex-cavalryman that was fighting at the Battle of the Little Bighorn, aka Greasy Grass. You get basically captured by like the time police, and you gotta like stop time from being destroyed. Or do you? The big reveal was that Iran, oh dear, basically came up with a virus, oh dear, that wiped out all the individuals that college kids hate. Oh dear.
Head over here, make it quick.
Yeah.
And the end of the game is where you were going to try to go stop it, and that was going to show up in the second game, but it got canned.
Do you want Stuxnet? Because that's how you get Stuxnet.
Yeah. Oh, he moved to Australia when he was young. Okay, I did not know that. I thought he was Australian. Eliminate all enemy forces near the cannons.
Speaking of Australia.
Wait a second.
Speaking of Australia, what is Paul Hogan up to these days?
Being old.
God, I wish we could get one more Crocodile Dundee movie.
I don't know. I really only think the first one was worth watching. Man, that is a movie. Once again, that's a movie that couldn't be made again. Not necessarily. You can make like an indie movie like that, but the mentality wouldn't exist. You know, it's like that's a movie where, you know, it's kind of good for all ages, but then like, you got a guy doing coke, amongst other things.
The scene when he tries to help the guy off the ledge, and he learns that he's a member of the Wi-Fi community, and he almost falls off in shock.
Yeah. They could not do that. No, like that's not even being mean. That's the main thing. That's just a joke. You know, he's not.
Agreed.
That's the thing where anything that's not 100% positive is like, oh, that's offensive. It's like, come on, people. Come on. I gotta tell you, I'm actually enjoying this game. More so than I remembered. Smacky. Smack him. It's something to be said for just it's a basic first-person shooter. But they did a pretty good job on it. It's playable. You know, it's not boring. Sometimes the aim down sights don't work. I mean, it's good to slaughter northern. I mean, never mind. President company excluded. I mean, for all I know, these people are from like New York or something, so they deserve it. I mean, yeah, they deserve it. I mean, no, they don't. They should be from California. California's in the north. They're from Maine. Take that, Stephen King's great-great-great-grandfather.
You'd be doing us a favor.
That's one of those things where you do have to separate the art from the artist, because I know there's a lot of big Stephen King fans that really hate Stephen King, the guy. I never was a big Stephen King guy myself. I just never really got into his stuff. Man, I read the one about John F. Kennedy, and I thought that was pretty good, but the rest were just not really for me. Uh-oh. Do we have a turret section? Yep, we do.
Although I would be a liar if I said I did not totally love Maximum Overdrive.
Yeah, it's another classic. And thankfully, I can actually exit. No, I can't. There we go. Let me off there so I can shoot him. Well, I got hurt bad.
Oh, is this a turret section I see?
You know it. It wouldn't be too.
Cannot be allowed to cross that bridge, or they'll be
I knew it.
big guns.
All right, let's save, and then let's do some turreting. Now, this would require like a 6-man crew, but hey, whatever.
Wow, there is a major gap between what I'm seeing and what I'm saying to you.
Yeah. Well, hopefully the stream isn't doing too bad. The stream health looks like it's still doing good.
Am I somehow...
Well, sadly, the Confederates would have never been able to win anyway, just because of industrial differences. You know, like they couldn't have manufactured enough shit, nor did they have enough people. But the reality is, it's hard to say what would have happened to the American continent. Probably we'd look more like Europe than I'd like to think. With a bunch of competing states, a bunch of competing countries, and that's not good. There's a Harry Turtledove novel series that kind of explored that, where the South won the Civil War, basically won their independence. It basically ends in 1945 with about 10 cities nuked across the United States, or what would have been the United States. So maybe it's better, yeah. I like the one where there's an alternate history where there was reunification in like 1902. There is a substantial difference between North and South, but at the same time, there was a time when both North and South kind of worked together. I mean, in the modern era, before all the craziness. I mean, technically, right now, North and South are working together because, well, Triple X is from the North. And I'm from the Texases.
I might be from the north, but my heart is for the south.
Lee is overwhelmed at Antietam Creek and has no
You're
more
welcome.
reserves to bring up. It looks like his army will be destroyed when at the last minute General Ambrose Hill arrives with reinforcements and beats back the Northern advance. The next day, Lee expects an all-out attack and certain destruction, but no attack comes. Once again, McClellan allows the great general to escape. He retreats back.
Oh
Agnostic
man, they
is
never
dark
say that
before
today.
sibling late.
Another
They
day.
hate Robert E. Lee now.
The battle does not give either side a decisive victory, and yet 23,000 casualties occur, 9 times the number that fell at Normandy.
Did you know
Lincoln still
you
declares
cannot
this a
even
victory,
put
and within
Confederate
days
flags
signs the
on like
Emancipation Proclamation.
racing games where you
England
can put
decides to
decals
fight
on
back in the
cars?
South, an act
I'm
They
not
will ban
surprised.
it.
the entire outcome of the war.
It's kind of sad. Used to be it was, you know, the way it goes. But remember, there was the General Lee car from Dukes of Hazzard. Like, used to be it was just a thing, but now it's not. What the Confederates wanted was essentially to have their own country, more or less. And yeah, slavery did play a big role in that, but it was mainly economics more than anything else.
One of the Union's brightest stars, General Hooker has a good plan to feint an attack on Lee at Fredericksburg, then march up the Rappahannock, cross the river, and attack Lee's rear.
I mean,
On April 30th,
Uh-oh.
1863,
Hooker
with
wants to attack
90,000
Lee's
men,
rear.
Hooker's
I
main
don't like the sound
force
of that.
reaches Chancellorsville. On May 2nd, Hooker stops
I'm the
his
kind of
army
person that
while
can
meeting
see
Stonewall
the Confederate
Jackson's
flag
troops.
as just a
His
flag.
officers urge him to press forward.
It does not
But he
remind me
obeys.
of mid-century
With
Germany.
15,000 men,
Exactly.
Lee keeps Hooker bottled up in the woods. Jackson leads the rest around the Union lines to attack their rear at Chancellorsville. Completely off guard, the Union troops fall back before darkness falls, desperately trying to ward off the attacking Southern forces.
General, I have some bad news.
Uh-oh. Did Hooker get you
It
in the
is
rear?
that. No, I must depart, unfortunately.
All right, watch out for the crazies.
They got me last week,
Ugh.
but I bid you and everyone in chat
Your job
a
is to
good
protect the
evening.
signal towers yonder.
Happy first day of summer, longest day, shortest night.
Understood? You do that. And there's
Sounds like a
bigger
big-
And
the ammo depot at the
I
Indian camp.
probably will see you next week.
Boy.
Sounds good to me. All right, I'll see you then.
Have a good night, everybody.
All right. But yeah, now everybody's got to talk bad about like Robert E. Lee these days. Where before, see, the whole thing about the Civil War is it was a civil war in that it was, you know, countrymen versus countrymen, and there's more people died in the Civil War, not only in terms of sheer numbers, but also by proportion than in any other conflict in American history. So, yeesh. But the thing was, after the war, there was a major push of basically détente between North and South, where the South would be able to be reintegrated into the North. And so it wasn't going to be like, South bad, hate on South. It was like, well, you know, you fought a good fight, but you lost. That was the idea, and it worked. And there was always an attempt to like say that, you know, the South, yeah, you guys lost, but, you know, these things happen. Now it's just South bad. Actually, I've experienced some of that in my own life. The whole South bad kind of mentality. There were 2 females I was with, although not at the same time, thankfully. That'd be a bit awkward. Where they would have friends or neighbors, stuff like that. Say like, oh, you're dating a guy from Texas? Isn't he like the big evil? Although they didn't put it quite like that, so. I mean, you should look at like Reddit. Oh my god. The stuff they say about the South. They really wanted all the surviving, you know, Confederates put to death, which means there would likely still be a war even to this day, because, yeah. It's one of those things where the people in the North were smart enough to not just sit around and say how bad the South was. Yeah, because the South, a lot of people who were smart moved down here. Now, for me personally, my entire family has been living in the been living kind of in the same area for the last like 100 years. So I am Texas born, Texas raised, along with literally everybody else in my family. We never left. But that's the thing about like civil wars and such. It's like usually they don't end because there's just so much hatred between the different sides. And America was pretty lucky like really lucky that people kind of moved on. But now, you know, you got these idiots constantly saying, God damn it. Smack him. Ooh, we got a bayonet. Bayonet time. Why are y'all shooting the ground? Those bullets ain't cheap. But I've always been of the belief, though, that that America was stronger together, especially in the 20th century, to have both North and South be the same, be one country. It's one of those things where, well, because there's a big difference between the sons and daughters of the Confederacy and, well, a genocidal, you know, organization like the Sox. And also, you got to consider that, you know, after the Civil War, there was not a lot of hatred towards the South in the same way there was towards the Nat Sox. It's a very different thing. Not the least of which it happened almost 100 years prior to World War II, but whatever. There really is nothing in there's really nothing in common between the South and the Sox. I mean, for one, the South wasn't socialist or genocidal, for that matter. Or if you want to say, if you want to like be Reddit about it, then both North and South would be equally genocidal, man. Which is not really the case, but whatever. Never let something like a fact get in your way, I guess. But like, the sons and daughters of the Confederacy was very similar to the concept of the sons and daughters of the Revolution, as in like the American Revolution. Which, you know, once again, that would be considered very controversial because, you know, stolen land and such. Although I'd have to ask, if I had to give back this house, who's gonna pay the mortgage? And if somebody pays the mortgage, tell that to the bank. And the average Confederate soldier was not, you know, committing a bunch of war crimes every 5 minutes. I mean, you know, we aimed a lot better than the Northerners. I mean, yeah, we aimed a lot better than the Northerners. But like, this attempting to conflate the Confederacy with the Sox is really stupid. I mean, everything about the Civil War is so different from World War II. But, you know, once again, these people can barely read, so... Damn 'em! See, for me... at the very, very end, and Gatling guns weren't really that useful because they had bad magazines. Well, they weren't really a magazine, more of a hopper. Cartridges weren't very good, that sort of thing. But they existed, they just weren't really as useful as one would like them to have been. And see, the thing about the KKK is that came out long after the Civil War, and it was mainly a lot of people who didn't really have any sort of tie to the South that were doing it. That doesn't mean there wasn't any Southerners in it. That is one of the issues there. But the fact remains, though, the entire South is painted with this brush that we're supposed to be all evil.
Listen up. I don't got long.
Although I don't know if we're all evil. Why
There's
did
an
people from the
ammo
North like to
depot
come
just
here?
beyond them trees.
And California? Don't
Best
California
thing
by
is to hit
Texas?
it from the other side. You set fire to them trees and blow it up. Don't mind me. I'm going to a good place. Now get.
Well, that's depressing. Well, I guess Reddit would be happy. But the fact remains, though, it's like National Socialism was, you know, well, a socialist ideology, so it was genocidal by nature. Whereas the Confederacy didn't really have an ideology. Didn't really have much of an ideology at all, really. I mean, slavery was a big part of it, but mostly it was just, you know, they wanted to be independent from America. Once again, mainly for economic reasons, but a lot of these regular guys were just fighting for their state more than anything else. But here's the thing about the Civil War. It's a very complex sort of thing. Much more complex than Reddit would lead you to believe. What it is if you look at like a lot of the Civil War letters, you can find anybody to you can find enough letters to justify any sort of like ideology you want to have. You know, you could have it be like, oh, they were all a bunch of slaving people, and you'd find some that weren't. You know, it really just kind of varied because these were human beings and not just, you know, strawmen. Man, that guy's going nuts over there. So the South viewed the Constitution as a big deal, you know. As near as I can tell from my scholarship of the Civil War, kind of reading between the lines, it looks like the Civil War was more of an economic thing than it was like a social thing. At least that's what that's the vibe I'm kind of getting. And that used to be like a big deal in scholarship. Now it's more of a social thing. But the Founding Fathers were considered very good. You know, they considered, well, the South didn't consider it that separate from America. So, yeah. Is California considered part of the South? No, it's considered part of the West. Which is very different. I don't think California was even really that big of a player in the Civil War. It's nothing I ever read. It just sort of was there. The big part of the Civil War took place around Virginia and other states in that area. Texas was kind of just a sideshow more than anything else. And my opinion of the Grey Jedi, the modern day Grey Jedi are kind of stupid, but back in the old EU, the idea of a Grey Jedi was originally just to be that you were a Jedi that wasn't part of the Jedi Order. The whole idea that you gotta be like in balance, man, is pretty dumb. Like, that means like you rescue a cat out of a tree and then kick a cat across the wall, kick a cat across a room or something as like a way to balance it, man. That's stupid. Nobody's gonna act like that. The most famous of the EU Grey Jedi was a guy named... God damn it. What is killing me over here? I don't know why I died here. I don't know how far back I'm gonna go. Uh-oh. Am I gonna have to restart the whole level? Please tell me not. But yeah, the most famous Grey Jedi back in the old EU days was Jolie Bindo or Bindo or something like... Jolie Bean Dip? No. He was a great cantankerous old man kind of character.
Move closer, soldier.
Okay. Can I get out of here in time? No, I think I'm fucked. And not in a good way either. Come on, bunny hop! Bunny hop! Nope, we can't bunny hop. I have to play that whole level again? Ugh. Okay, well, game, you want to be that way? Yeah, it would essentially be bipolar, exactly, because, like, they'd have to do something good and then it's something bad, which is kind of dumb. No one's going to act like that, unless they're crazy already. The thing about Jedi is a lot of the... I like how we go from talking about the Civil War to Jedi, but actually it's kind of an important topic. I remember seeing an article on Yahoo many years ago, like maybe 20 years ago, saying, like, the Jedi deserve to get wiped out. It's like, whoa, we got fucking psychos writing at Yahoo. The Jedi, even Lucas didn't understand them, really. The Jedi were supposed to be, you know, like... Alright, see ya, John Doe. The Jedi were supposed to essentially be, you know, like, peacekeepers and such. They were not supposed to be this, like, group of aesthetics. In fact, for the most part, in the early days of the EU, and nobody really knew what a Jedi was, they were just, you know, like, human beings with, like, a good sense of justice. They weren't like... You can't have kids, you can't do this. I swear, like, the whole, like, no attachment things, that's a Reddit thing right there. You should see some of the justifications for that. It's like, oh my god, you people are never gonna get laid. Like, ever. With that kind of mentality. But yeah, Grey Jedi, the original concept was great. In fact, I liked the Grey Jedi back in the old EU days, because it was just like, well, you're not aligned with the Jedi Order. I like that, because the Jedi Order could get really dumb. But now where you gotta do something good and then something evil, yeah, no. That'd be a no-go for me. The dark side, yeah, is a bit like a drug. That is what it was supposed to be initially. You're seduced by it. You want more power. And you get more power and you want more. It's kind of like, you know... It's kind of like the nose candy, I suppose. Am I gonna die again? Yeah, and that's pretty stupid. Like, Mundi was kind of a stupid character. Although they kind of turned him into like this evil guy at some point, which is kind of weird. I don't care about Mundi or like the other guy, that dude with the mask on his face. Like, these are characters that I was aware of. I know who they are, but it's like, meh. I'm not a prequel guy, except for the clone troopers. Where are you, little bastard? I got a black powder revolver with your name on it. Black powder revolvers are kind of cheap. Like, you can get them for less than like $300 or $400. But man, it is not worth it. They're good to look at, but shooting them is so difficult, it's not even funny. And yet I still kind of want a musket. The Patinium people, they don't believe there's good or evil at all. It's just how you use the Force, which is what I agree with. And that's what Kyle Katarn agrees with as well. Which it's like, okay, that's something I'll talk about more in a live stream of a Star Wars game, but I'll tell you this, okay. It's wrong to use Force choke on somebody. It's wrong to Force choke a bitch, but it's okay to cut somebody's head off. Eh? It's wrong to use lightning, but you can Force push somebody off a cliff where they hit the ground and disassemble into bones. It's like, what? That's okay? It's one of those things where it's kind of a silly, the rules are kind of dumb. It's like, wait a minute, so you can't choke a bitch. Am I stuck? Yes, I am. Really, game? Don't annoy me. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. I'm gonna have to reload the save again. Oh, I'm stuck on the box. Can I, like, break the box? Can I, like, crouch my way out of this? No, I can't. No, I'm fully stuck. You gotta be fucking kidding me. You got to be fucking kidding me. You know what we're gonna do? We need to have like an in-game save or something. I cannot believe this has happened twice. I mean, yeah, it does have a little bit of technical issues, but like for a game made for like $1, I'm not gonna knock it too much. Range in front of your patient.
Move closer, soldier. Your job is to take out those signal towers.
I'll tell you this. I've tried to shoot my black powder revolvers on like 3 separate occasions, and my god, if the caps are not going off, the powder's not going off. I remember the first time I took a black powder pistol to the gun range, right? I'm loading the chambers, and I don't depress it enough, and I have to go get somebody's help to like do a little tap tap taparoo to get that ball seated far enough that I can actually turn the cylinder. I mean, my god, they're annoying. I was using a Pieta. It was a Pieta revolver. Pieta, 1858 Remington. There we go. Although it's really an 1860 Army, but they call it an 1858 Remington because of the patent that they had. It was just annoying. Now, maybe I just had a bad batch of caps, and maybe that's why they didn't work, but I don't know. It was annoying. I still kind of want a musket, like an 1861 musket, 58 caliber. I kind of want one of those, but I'm not willing to pay $2 grand for that. It's like, I'm not willing to pay $2 grand for a single shot. And yeah, I have read that Pietas are kind of like the El Cheapos that don't work that great, but... And yeah, the 1858 is the one with the quick change cylinder. It's not as quick change as people would make it out to be. Like, that is very finicky, getting that cylinder out. But it does make it a lot easier to clean than a Colt. But I gotta tell you, comparing a Remington to a Colt, the Colt is better. Like, the Colt's more finicky in some ways, but man, the grip on a Colt is like pure, like, sexcellence. Like, you kind of have to hold both, but like that grip on that Colt, man, it's a naturally pointy, quick run, run. Give me away from that explosion. Okay, now we're gonna save in game right here. just in case something fucks up, so we don't have to lose all that bloody progress. Oh no, the cylinder change on a Colt is very difficult. You have to take out a screw, then you have to drive out a wedge, so you can need a screwdriver, and then you pull out the cylinder. So yeah, it's kind of annoying, cleaning a Colt. And here's the thing about black powder that is the most annoying, that the games don't show. Black powder is corrosive. You don't clean that black powder, it's gonna rust fast. Ruger Old Army. Yeah, I wanted to get a Ruger Old Army, but by the time I had the money to get any revolver like that, they were very expensive. Built like a tank. You can still get them cheap. I remember they were kind of expensive, though, at one point. Because I wanted one of those. Yeah, so I got like a 1851 in 44 and a Ruger, and a Remington. Both are U-Birdies. They're very nice revolvers. They look good, but man, it's the nature of the beast. Come on, beat him up, punch him. I want to know why the muskets are so expensive. Like, how do you go from like say $250 for a revolver, and then they go up to like $1,000 for a single shot? Shouldn't that be easy to make? I would have thought. Yeah, maybe we do have a lot of FUDs in Texas, and that's why those Rugers are so expensive. I don't know. Not having had a U-Birdie, I couldn't tell you if you have to do any like extra work to get them to run. The Pieta, my thing wasn't the Pieta was bad. It was just trying to get all the shit to work. That was the main problem. I think with more practice, I could probably get it to work. See, like back in the old days, evidently, I don't know this for sure, but I have watched a number of videos on this, so they could be wrong. A lot of the black powder stuff, you actually got like full-formed paper cartridges like you would get regular cartridges. You would just buy them already wrapped. And so if you're trying to roll your own, it's a little difficult. I do recommend watching the YouTube channel Paper Cartridges. That guy puts out some pretty good content. First AR upgrade, just get a better trigger. Okay, let's reload the save, because I took a lot of damage there. Get a... If you want to stay under budget, if you want to get a good AR upgrade, just get a enhanced polished trigger from PSA. If you want to spend a little more money, you can get the PSA match grade trigger, although I've not actually used that. I've used the enhanced polished trigger a lot. And they good. They good. Now, this game does get the smoke right, though. I remember Gramps, he always used to call my, it was the 1851 Navy. He used to call it the smoke pole. He also called it the stinking chute, because, black powder is kind of pungent compared to regular gunpowder. I remember the first time I ever shot that 1851, it had this giant fog bank, gun smoke come out, and the wind just so happened to blow it right in my face. But you know what? I'm glad I got those revolvers. One day I'll do a video on them, but that day is not today. Oh yeah. The Hungarian black powder guy. I like that guy. Now he does some really good stuff with black powder. Yeah, Cap and Ball, I think is the name of the YouTube channel. And he actually does like accuracy tests with like originals and not just reproductions. He also did a good video on the Lee reloader, where he actually made up some actual real cartridges with that thing. I would not recommend getting the Lee reloader because, man, that's a tedious thing to use. Oh, come on, stop moving. 4th place on a black powder competition. Damn, that is nice. And here I am trying to get the thing to shoot at all. Now, some of those black powder pistols can be pretty accurate, like surprisingly accurate. But just getting them loaded can be kind of annoying. Okay, you can't reload in the middle of a cylinder. I like that. Okay, let's save again. Oh, come on. What is hurting me? Am I dying from dysentery? Now, see, whenever, like, some of these YouTubers, especially the supposedly based ones, are like, we don't need technology, man. Humans are too weak now. It's like, I always think, like, man, if you tried to live back even during the 1800s, these people would be crying like you wouldn't believe. Because, man, life was hard for these guys. And a lot of people really did die from dysentery. What actually happens is, you more or less just die from dehydration. It is not a good way to go. Let's put it that way. There's cholera, among other things. Even in my grandfather's time, things were much, much harder than they are today. Do they all follow that Ted guy? I don't know who Ted is. Unless you're talking about the guy, that bear that came to life. TVA Bobcat. Never heard of it. Muzzle-loaded sniper rifles. Nice.
Listen up, 'cause I don't got long. There's an ammo depot just beyond them trees. Best thing is to hit it from the other side.
Let's save. So I don't have to do this again. Oh, the anti-tech bomber. No, it's not. Although, that reminds me.
Set fire to them trees and blow it up. Don't mind me.
There was a,
I'm going to a good place.
There's a schizo video I watched by a guy named What If Alt Hist who was like, was the Unabomber right? It's like, no, he wasn't. The Unabomber, like, if I'm not mistaken, like, he believed that, like, there's too much technology, humanity will be too easily controlled, and that humans should go back to a pre-industrial sort of thing. And it's like, you first, Mr. Kaczynski, you first. Like, the people, it's like, how would you like to live without toilet paper? Can it be used in some corn husks? How would you like to live without a shower? Can you imagine how bad people must have smelled? I always got to bring that up, because, like, these guys, once again, in the 1800s, they could have washed up a bit better. Because, like, soap was a little more common, but, like, can you imagine the stench coming off that guy we just shot? It's like, it would not be fun. It's one of those things, like, back in these days, like, prostitution was still legal. All I can say is, can you imagine, on payday, there's a line of guys out there like Lily fucking Phillips, and you're like the 10th guy in line. Nobody's had a shower. Nobody even knows what germ theory even is. Like, yeah. People think they don't want technology right up until they don't got it. I thought I died for a second. And I'd also remind everybody that there's no hot and cold running water either, so. Well, here's the thing. Dystopia versus living in the woods. A lot of people chose the dystopia over the woods. Because it's very easy when we're sitting in this nice air-conditioned... When you're sitting in a nice air-conditioned house to say, like, I'd rather live in the woods. Now, personally, I'd like to live with some civilization. Like, if I had to live back in the ye olde days like this, you wouldn't have caught me dead in a city. But at the same time, that's more of a personal choice. I don't want somebody to make that choice for me. But a lot of people chose to live in shitty tenements and work 12-hour days, 7 days a week in a factory, than live on the farm. Because living on the farm ain't like it is today, where you can have a robot do all your pickings. It's just one of those things. People don't know how hard life really was for most people. Like, life is hard enough as it is. Now imagine you can't get hot and cold running water, and everybody around you smells like literal shit. And this was the good days Because as bad as the 1800s were, the 1700s were worse, the 1600s were worse than that, and so on and so forth. There was a book I read, and I'm not sure how accurate this was, but set during the Roman Empire, and this guy was in a house fire, and like the soap that he used to clean off all the soot was made out of urine. So yeah, I'm willing to deal with, you know, some assholes to not have to use urine-based soap. Come on, run, 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 run. Okay, I wasn't supposed to be over there. That's why I just ended up dying from dysentery.
Because of the late attack, Jackson doesn't have time to finish the job. He rides after the retreating Yankees, considering a night assault. When he returns, confused Confederate sentries mistake him for the enemy. 2 of Jackson's aides are killed, and he's shot twice in the arm. The limb has to be amputated. The next day, Hooker orders a retreat, and the Union Army crosses back over the Rappahannock. The defeat is total. Hooker loses 17,000 men. It's Lee's costliest victory to date. He loses 13,000 men, including his best general. On May 10th, 1863, Stonewall Jackson takes a turn for the worst and dies of pneumonia.
See, this is why you don't want to live back then. And they died of pneumonia. It's like, or they died of pneumonia, or they had to amputate the arm.
In the summer of 1863, Union General William Rosecrans forces the Confederate Army out of Chattanooga and into Georgia. Defeated at Perryville and Stones River, Confederate commander Braxton Bragg is the most despised officer in the South. Finally, he retreats no more. On September 18th, Bragg makes a stand at Chickamauga Creek. Both armies clash at the bridge over the Chickamauga, suffering horrendous losses. In a heavily forested area, Bragg assaults Rosecrans head-on. Union General George Henry Thomas holds his position until the evening. The next morning, Thomas is once again attacked. He somehow continues to fight the South off, but time is running out for the North.
A guy in a porta potty and someone knocked it over. Yeah, now imagine that guy doesn't take a shower, because showers don't exist. That reminds me of a King of the Hill joke where like Hank Hill was in a porta potty and like he gets destroyed, and the line's like, "He's a squatter."
Under your command, soldier. You will clear all nearby farms of enemy control. I do not want to see a Yankee uniform unless it's covering a dead body. Is that clear?
Sometimes used for, yeah. Oh God. Oh God, no. I can't imagine engaging in certain activities in such a place. If I blew myself up trying to remember which. Okay, so it's not impossible that a Confederate soldier would have an 1860 Henry. It's not impossible. It's just very unlikely.
Send them back home, soldiers!
And there's no way they could get any resupply of ammunition unless they, well, took it off a dead body. Kind of like in the game. These rifles were very, 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 very expensive because they were a brand... I cannot stress enough how advanced of a piece of technology the 1860 Henry was. There was literally nothing like it.
Destroy that cannon emplacement.
Like, this was one of the most advanced... I think it might have actually been the most advanced piece of technology, weapons technology at the time. Because it did a lot of stuff. We're talking self-contained cartridges made of brass. Actually, I don't think they were made out of brass. I think they were made out of copper, if I'm not mistaken. And the fact that you could shoot this fast, nobody could do that. However, it had one problem. It was fragile. Several problems. One, it was fragile. Two, it didn't have the range of an actual rifle musket. So, holy crap, I got hurt bad. Let's reload that save. Personally, I kind of would like an 1860 Henry, but it's one of those, it'd be a nice to have, but I ain't paying no $1,000 for it, and I've got the much better 1892 Winchester that, this was a first design. It's kind of weird, actually. Like, people who make stuff like this, also, he's jacking that bolt all wrong. You would not actually shoot like that. You would, when we aim down sights, he's doing the right thing, but like, you would not turn it to the side unless you were shooting from the prone. Honestly, the Kentucky long gun would be better because you could outrange a guy with a Henry pretty easily. This is very much a close-in kind of weapon comparatively. Wow, why do I keep getting killed? Let's see. Desperate people will do anything? Oh my. Let's see. Abraham Lincoln had a prototype Henry. Yeah, because there's no way they could have actually issued an 1860 Henry in the Civil War. The thing about it is, you have to remember that if you want to equip an army, you need to have done it before the war started, because here's the thing, they had like millions of these rifle muskets, and they had like, you know, a couple tens of thousands of Henrys. It's like, it ain't gonna work. You stick with what you actually have ammunition for, what you have tooling for, all kinds of stuff. There's a video on that on the Paper Cartridges YouTube channel that's pretty fascinating. Well, the thing about it is, Silver Wings, yeah, you would... It seems ideal that you would want the Henry over anything else, but if you can make an 800-yard shot, do you want to shoot at a guy from 800 yards out, or do you want to shoot at him from 80 yards out, you know? If you can see him, he can see you, and he can shoot back, you know? It's one of those things. But yeah, I would be taking the Henry too. But that Paper Cartridges guy does make a point, though. Yeah, he has a good point about how, like, well, you know, the rifle musket is just, you can shoot further with it. And I can kind of get it. Now, that's a really nice reloading animation. That actually is accurate to real life. How did the cartridge compare with the 357? Oh my god, it was not good. You gotta remember, black powder is substantially weaker than smokeless. This shot 44 Henry rimfire. Okay, like this was a powerfully weak cartridge. But once again, you had a shitload of them. You load it on Sunday and shoot it all week, son. Now, Ian McCullum, he ended up catching some shrapnel because he let down the follower on that magazine spring from too high up, and it detonated a cartridge in that mag tube, but he got some shrapnel in the chest. Oh yeah, that AR survival rifle. That's a takedown 22 where you can fit the action and the barrel. God damn it! Action and the barrel into the stock, and the stock is waterproof. It's a cool idea. I'm not sure if the modern ones are as reliable as the old ones, though. I've never actually shot one. I considered getting one once, but it's like, meh. Okay, let's just run. Run. Yeah, I'm so dead. Reload the save. Silver Wings, is the AR-7 reliable? Because I've heard there's some reliability issues with the mags. It was a few years back. He has a video on it. He did have a video with, I will check that out, Silver Wings, when you get it done. But Ian and Carl, before Carl Casarda became before he became enlightened, there we go. Before Carl Casarda became a bit of an asshole, he did a video on the importance of battlefield medicine because Ian got hurt. And then Ian McCullum did his own video after Carl took the video down like a little bitch. I mean, yeah, like a little bitch. But yeah, he got hurt pretty bad, but god damn it. I got hurt pretty bad. I blew up the powder sacks. The Charter Arms versions were the unreliable ones. Alright. 7, and the end cap gets loose over time. Okay. Yeah, my favorite 22 semi-auto is still the 1022. You can put 25 rounders in that thing. Boom. I don't think if you shot a powder sack it would blow up quite like that, but whatever. We don't care. This is actually a pretty good game. I mean, once again, for a budget of no dollars and even less cents, it runs, it's fun. The thing is, it's actually fun because you got enough enemies to fight. You know, it's not overly difficult. They don't confuse you with a bunch of annoying objectives. There's no turret sections, and you get 2 campaigns. Like, they did pretty good. I'm gonna have to do a video on this. Smack him! Smack him! Beat him up! Let's save. Let's see. Including 22 pistols, would you still say the 1022? I would say it's one of the... It is a standard 22 rifle for a reason, because it just works. Unlike most of Todd Howard's creations. And there's a giant aftermarket for it. Once in a finished can of... Yeah. See, that was back when Carl Casardo was still cool. I don't know if he was, like, always, like, a blue hair, or if he became that way in 2020. But I liked the Ian and Carl, like, dynamic, because they were very much like the old Mythbusters. But, alas, yep. See, I actually liked Carl more than I did Ian, because like, Carl had a bit more of a presence to him, an aura, as the cool kids have been known to say.
Gotta get us out of here. Use the explosives from the wagon.
The only problem, though, is, well, once he became a blue hair, he was much less cool. And honestly, it looks like he must... God damn! Honestly, it looks like he probably smells as bad as these guys. That's the thing about when people get that, woke mind virus, they often become very disheveled looking, you know? Like they don't know how a shower works. And Carl reviewed the World War II Fanta. Yep. I loved those videos. Those are some videos I used to watch all the time. Long a barrel. I mean, you can do it. There's good long barrel ARs. PSA does have them, but you're going to be paying a premium because they make less of them. And yeah, it was hard to unsub from in-range TV, but it became too preachy is really what happened. Gotta get us out of here.
Use the explosives from the wagon.
Okay, let's... Man. Okay, what should I be doing here? What am I doing wrong? This is way harder than it should be. Now see, this is where the, where a lever action rifle really shines, is when you gotta shoot a lot of targets fast. Okay, I'm getting hurt so badly. My feelings are hurt. They look very sweaty and, just kinda, yeah. It's a sad, sad business. Okay, so that's how this game does it. Okay. They will literally, the game will literally murder you if you don't do what it says. Okay, we're gonna hide here. Somebody shooting at me somewhere else? And that's another thing I like about this game. This is actually kind of forward thinking, where like, you lose all your health, but you'll like heal up one little star. Oh my. The 16-inch AR is popular because 14 inches is too small for the NFA. Damn it. The US Army right now uses a 14-inch AR, or yeah, it's an AR, M4, whatever you want to call it. There he is. I see that little bastard. Come on, give me a wagon. We're gonna use oil-based paint because the wood is pine. Yeah, we'll see if the short act actually becomes a thing. There's actually a couple of lever action rifles, they're very expensive, that are exempt from the NFA. There are a number of lever action rifles made back in the ye olde days. Okay, come on, why is this not killing him? Made back in the ye olde days that had 14-inch barrels. They're called the trapper models, which I guess is for like trapping like game or whatever. Come on, charge him. Fine, fine. God damn it. See what time is it? Okay. We're good, we're good, we're good. And see, good guy Civil War game, did not... Wait a minute. Oh my god, that's cool. Go, wagon, go. Well, that was kind of lame. It's not gonna explode. We didn't have an explosive budget. Your 16-inch AR is actually pretty optimized for a lot of things, really. Like, it's good for hunting, it's good for self-defense. That's why it's so popular, because it's nice in the middle of the road. Mini fix at the short act passes, but unfortunately Michigan... Oh, wow. Appeal the NFA, yes. And you know what? People would buy full autos, and you know what? Criminals would still do criminal stuff. Because I don't know if you'll know this, but like criminals, they don't actually follow the law. Because that's kind of what they get paid for. They get paid to, you know, like lie, cheat, steal, rob. Things of that nature. You can even paint your gun. You can't paint gun. Wow. That's... I don't know where that's gonna end up, though. I hate reading about stuff like that because that's so wrong. I'm trying to get over here so I can get some health, hopefully. But I guess it's just not gonna happen. Guess it's just not gonna be the way. We're gonna take away the rock. And we're gonna replace him with Jack Black. He'll be our new action hero. Okay, the problem is there's a bunch of assholes all trying to shoot me. And I don't have any full autos. It's like we're living in Britain again. On the one hand, guns are doing really good in the United States. On the other hand, there's a lot of assholes. Run! Grab the health! Aha! I know I'm not going septic. Save. Celtic KSG and painted like the railgun. Wow, felony? That's a bunch of bullshit. And yeah, there's a bunch of idiots with their Glock switches. I wonder why the ATF isn't going after them. One wonders why. I mean, that is apparently a big thing now. That, and people really getting into the Dracos. I will admit, I think the Dracos are kind of a neat concept, like a mini AK. But, like, ranges will ask, like, if you say you can shoot an AK, they'll be like, it's not a Draco, is it? Because evidently Dracos are very, very shitty in terms of accuracy. I remember somebody asked me that once, it's like, it's not a Draco. It's like, no, I got a real AK. Glock vans, ugh. Well, I guess Smith & Wesson will finally be able to compete with their M&Ps. It's still bullshit. That's going to come to a head at some point with the Supreme Court, and those shit-tier states are going to have to change their ways. Okay, what am I trying to do here? Clear all of the farms of hostile presence. Okay. So we got to go over here now. Of a hostile presence, huh? That's kind of a weird way to say that. I'm not sure any loyal man of the South would talk like that, but whatever. Come on! He's right there! You are a hostile presence, and you're no longer wanted here. Oh, I bet this is not what that means. Okay, so the game's just gonna constantly spawn those guys until I go the right way. I always kind of wanted to get a Keltec Sub 2000. Those have been around for ages, but the whole Foldy Boy thing. Pick up the note from the dead courier. Yeah, going akimbo in a range is not a good idea, because you don't want to shoot the stall next to you. That would be very bad. I certainly don't want people shooting anything near me. Honestly, I kind of like it when people don't bring in their, like, super shorty 308s that sound like a goddamn bomb going off. I gotta tell you this. When it comes to, like, super shorties, you know, seriously, people, if you want a super shorty, my recommendation is get one in a pistol caliber, preferably 45 ACP, so you don't blow out the whole range when you let off one round, you know? Really? I'm trying to pick up the... Trying to get to Good Springs, damn it. I don't know why this rifle is so inaccurate. 1950s, damn. Some Finnish Confederates. But you gotta remember that the CSA was America right up until 1861. It's one of those things. There's a book called The Guns of the South, where some Afrikaners from the future use a stolen time machine, yes this happens, to give AK-47s to the Southerners to win the Civil War. And so the Afrikaners are like, yes, we shall defeat the foul Americans. And like Robert E. Lee is all like, we are Americans, sir. It's like, yeah. The Guns of the South is actually a pretty good book. I mean, it is kind of silly that, like, okay, wait a minute. Afrikaners from the future. Afrikaners, I think, are like from South Africa? Something like that. And so evidently they wanted to, like, establish South Africa earlier for whatever reason. And so they think the Confederacy will help them in the future. But it's a pretty good book with great characters. Like, it is damn good. Unfortunately, they tried to cancel the writer, Harry Turtledove, for daring to write it. Which is kind of sad. Pick it up. There we go. Use the wagon to get to the general. Oh my god, we've got a turret section. I did not know this was in it. I like how we've got a Gatling gun. Now look, as a loyal son of the South, I kind of like the fact that we've got a Gatling gun, but I don't think they ever had no Gatling guns. There were some, like, Southern experiments on, like, certain, like, breech-loaded artillery, but no Gatling gun. You can actually buy Gatling guns for like $50,000 now. Tipman, the paintball gun people, actually makes a Gatling gun in 9mm that takes Glock mags, but that's like $5 grand. It's like Parallel's video on Guns of the South. They even tried to replicate the AKs. Yeah, the technology was not there. I mean, like, the metallurgy wasn't even close in the 1860s. They did eventually get some black powder AKs kind of working, but you gotta realize how advanced of a design the AK really is compared to the 1860s. Like, metallurgy has changed so much, even in just, like, the last 80 years. I really recommend watching a video by Ivan Prince Guns talking about the M1, the M14, and talking about just the idea of having steel be uniform was a very big deal. Also tried to cancel James Lindsay and Helen Puck Rose for writing cynical theories. I've never heard of either one of them, so. Why do gun tubers have silenced 10.5 ARs? Because they look cool. 10.5 ARs, I guess, are alright. But, like, you're really losing a... You gotta remember, these gun tubers get a lot of these guns for free. And they're also millionaires on top of that. Who is shooting at me and from where? Okay, I'm already dead. It must be over here, but I don't see where the shots are coming from. Maybe it's coming from behind me? There it is. Oh, they got their own Gatling gun. Oh, okay. I thought it was just cynical theories like it's a concept, not like a book. But yeah, 10.5 ARs are kind of like on the borderline of actually being useful because AR 16-inch is 14 and 16 inches is probably the best of the small-sized ARs you can get. 20-inch is what it was originally designed to be and is the ideal, but it's also very long. 10.5, it's like that's a very specialist kind of weapon. For me, I would never go that shorty with an AR in 5.56. Now in 45 ACP, however, that's another story entirely. I guess that's Robert E. Lee.
A gap in the Union line, is it?
I don't think he would have sounded like that, though.
We'll take full advantage. Bring me a courier. Soldiers, prepare for an assault. You've done well, soldier. The battle may well turn at your initiative.
So we basically are playing Ramirez's great-great-great-great-grandfather. All right, well, sadly, the burger Saskatoon does not exist yet, and so we're going to call it a day today. There's a video about a union strike that inadvertently led to the downfall of the M14. A steelworker strike led to poor quality metal. Huh. And that is how logistics works. If you don't have the proper steel, you don't have the proper materials to make the rifles, and if you can't make the rifles, you're kind of screwed. Alright, next week, I'm not sure what I'm going to stream. I'm kind of like looking at a bunch of different games. I'm thinking like maybe another Medal of Honor, maybe some more Alien Isolation. We'll just have to see. Until then, I am General Lotz wishing you good History Channel, or whatever makes you happy.